super sport, wet paint, big feet. I pull up and kill shit, 6 feet.
Alright, 6 feet, going deep. It's Torius with
Big Len.
And Rico Suave.
Alright, Big Len and Rico Suave. Why don't you tell us about what you do?
I engineer and I produce. The studio I work out of right now is Engineering Audio on Wall Street. I've been here like for 2 years and I started as an intern here, and now I'm one of the main engineers here, along with a couple of other engineers here.
What was your internship like?
A lot of work and a lot of crazy nights, but a lot of fun too.
Was it paid?
No, come on.
Because a lot of artists, I know a lot of artists that don't want to do internships because they're not going to get paid, so they're like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Well, in my encounter with internships, with artists who like do internships, they do it because maybe to access studio time and stuff like that. But what you said is correct. Like most artists don't want to like pay for internships and stuff like that.
So, what actually got you into music?
I've been playing trumpet since I was like 12. And then I used to tour, like when I was like 17, 18, I was like touring a lot, doing like merengue and like salsa music. And then that was fun, and it was like good money.
So you were in a band?
Yeah, I was in a band for like, I was in many bands in New York. And then I would like tour like mainly I did like a lot of like East Coast tour, stuff like that. And what happened was I did all those tours, but then like the hours, the commute, all that stuff, the planes, all that stuff, it was kind of annoying.
Like
It just wasn't for me, because it was like you go to the spot, you play for 2 hours, you go back to the hotel, and then maybe if you're lucky you have 2 hours of recreational time, but it's really just 2 hours of sleep. Get your luggage, hop on the plane, the car, or bus, and go to the next spot.
What was the most annoying, the flight or the car ride?
Oh, the car rides.
Yeah,
the car rides, because it'd be like those like 15 passenger like church vans, and I'm not a skinny dude. So being in a 15 passenger van with a bunch of guys, it was like super annoying.
Damn.
Yeah,
but
for like 7 hours and stuff.
Were they like your friends? Like, so was it like a family kind of thing? Like you guys, like, even though you guys like.
Well, a lot of my musical mentors were some of the musicians. So I was with friends, but it was like 50-50 split, like friends and then musicians that I had just met at the moment.
Oh yeah. So it's like it's hard to like get on each other's nerves.
I mean, no, it's still easy to get on each other's nerves. Super easy. Because people don't know, like they have no chill button. So it's like we all haven't slept, and then there's always that one guy that wants to be up at 7 a.m. on the bus ride. Like, bro, you need to go to sleep. Like right now. But that would happen all the time.
You guys were going on tour together?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean,
come closer.
If the right record come, if you get the right record, and it's
hell yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I don't see why not. Definitely, if the right record were to come along and the artist with it, definitely go on tour with that person.
He did introduce himself.
He did.
Me?
Yeah, did you?
Yeah, he did.
Nah.
Yeah. So what got you into music?
I was just always into music. I always wanted, like, at first I wanted to be a DJ, and like I was like YouTubing like people like DJing and stuff, and then I found people making beats on the MPC, but I never knew that was like to make beats. I thought that was like a DJ equipment, part of DJ equipment. So I started watching people just making beats on YouTube, and I just like fell in love with it. I always used to make my own like little mix CDs and burn CDs and put 17 songs on one CD, and just always been with it.
Was it easy for you to watch those tutorials? Because they're boring.
I mean, yeah, it gets boring, but like, I mean, if you really like, when you really fall in love with it, like with anything, if you fall in love with you playing baseball and you just see somebody on YouTube swinging a bat, and if that's what you want to do, you're not gonna find it boring. Other people probably would, but nah.
Is it easy for you to focus when you're looking up those tutorials? Because I know like it's funny when you do that because you're watching the tutorial, right? And you see on the side like, oh, how to make this type of beat, how to make this type of beat.
I mean, if you starting off, that like you if you don't know what to do, you don't know what your sound is, you're still trying to find out, everything is gonna be hard because you see how to make a 808 Mafia beat, or how you make a Drake beat, how you make this, how you make that, and when you hit, you obviously you're a fan of the music, so you want to make that type of music. Yeah. But you don't have the skills when you're from the jump how to do it. So you like and you start
especially when you
crazy.
don't know like what your sound is.
What happened?
Especially when you don't know what your sound is.
Exactly. So you just you don't know what's your sound. You just know it sounds good. So you just trying to figure out what. That's the whole process. When you start and become a producer, you got to find your sound and what works for you, what doesn't work for you.
Mm-hmm. So when you guys were learning, like, how did you guys get over that learning curve of like the first couple beats you guys made, like, and it's like it doesn't sound good? Like, what made you want to keep going?
Well, I don't. For Suave, it was different because Suave has been doing beats way longer than me.
Mm-hmm.
So when we actually met in audio school together, and I went to audio school to learn like how to engineer and stuff, and then but I always said I wanted to like pick up producing. So I would always just ask like any producer that I would see in the area like working on stuff, like, oh, you know, what program are you using, what sounds are you using, can I hear some shit? And then they would they would let me hear and stuff, and then I'd go back to my drawing board and like try to like cook up my own stuff, and then of course I would send Suave some stuff and he would tell me like this is good, this is good, this is working, all that stuff. So for me, it was a lot like trying to find the right sounds to make it commercially acceptable. I don't know for you how starting up was.
I mean, when I didn't really have nobody to teach me it. Like, all I really had was YouTube and me really just trying it out. You know what I mean? So my first beats was trash, basura, garbage, like straight. Like, I was making the beat for 3 minutes, bro. I was recording and make the beat on the laptop computer for 3 minutes, not knowing you could do an 8-bar loop and just that shit. You could just structure it,
right?
So,
Yo,
so it was trash. My beginning beats in the first place, like trash.
Gotta hear some shit.
You don't want to.
Now you play out the whole song, right? Like,
yes.
The whole like 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And you're like, well, why does it sound like that?
Yep.
It's like that's not how people do it.
There'll be the beat with the drum, the kick will be so off beat. And
do you know what a metronome was? You know,
no, not at that time. Hell no, I knew nothing was.
So you said like you would try to make your music commercially viable. Was there like was there ever a time that you try to like make it so that it's just, you know, like whatever you wanted? Like, what made you want to do it commercially rather than just like make your own kind of wave kind of thing?
Well, since how Suave said that like he ain't have no one to teach him, I would reference off of them, off of like my producer friends that I made along the way. But like my main teacher was like the radio, like for like what do I want my stuff to sound like. So I was just always on the constant search of like how do I get my stuff, at least beat wise, to sound commercially viable. So for everyone to be like, yo, we all fuck with that, as opposed to because everyone says there's a beat for every person. So you might find like 2 people that might really like your beat, but you might find like 18 people that will give you the, yo, bro, that shit not good.
Facts.
Yeah, because I always think that there's like 2 types of producers: the producers that's trying to make the commercial beat that's on the radio, and the producers that's like, yo, I'm gonna make some weird shit. I'm gonna make some shit that like no one's ever heard. Like, I just like get like weird samples or weird like, weird sounds and stuff.
Well, the whole aspect was that with that is like sometimes me and Suave like collab on stuff sometimes. Like sometimes we'll say let's do like an R&B beat, let's do a trap beat, but then sometimes we'll be like, yo, just let's go through sounds and see like we'll both know when we hear the sound. It's like a quick. Right. That's it right there. Load it up. That's it. Yeah. Like we don't say anything. We just get the heads up. I just load it up, and like our minds are like already running because that way the creativity is like it's still free flowing at that time, as opposed to saying, you know what, tonight I want to make 10 SZA beats, the 20 Drake beats, all that stuff. You can try, and then a lot of the times for me even, I'll say I want a SZA beat, and then it turns into like a Playboy Cardi beat by accident. You could say you want to go for a certain vibe, but it doesn't happen all the time. Yeah,
because sometimes I watch that tutorial, I'm like, oh, I want to make something like that, and then I get frustrated and just make something like totally different, or like it just comes out like not the same way.
Yeah, like with me, like I don't when I make a beat, I don't even be like, I just turn the program on. I don't even be like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, whatever sound I hear, and I play something. If it sounds like, you know, Moneybag Yo, or it sounds like Trey Songz, like I go with that vibe of rap. I don't be like, I'm gonna make this, that going. I just turn the program on and I just whatever I feel.
No, yeah. But what kind of music do you guys like to make?
Mostly I'm more of like my specialty is more like trap, but you know I could kind of, you know, maneuver through most genres, but mostly trap, New York vibe type of stuff like that.
What about you?
I like to do like a lot of like trap, but like a lot of R&B as well too, because like sometimes and try to like blend both, because sometimes I like to experiment and like, you know, the current state of like R&B is like it's really just trap with like R&B singers on it.
It's trap soul.
Yeah, trap with chords.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll start off with like a trap beat and then I'm like, oh, let me just put some chords to it, and then it goes like left somewhere
It's
else.
like totally different.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like it's like where you put the snares, right? The difference, like where the snare distance to the kick.
Well, I feel that like with that whole like trap soul movement, it's all about the bounce of the drums in general.
Yeah.
And the
like,
hi-hats.
Yeah, it's all about the bounce of the drums and the hi-hats, and because you could do, it's been done many times where people just do like 4 chords. And it's 4 chords, and just the bounce is like different every 8 or 16 bars.
Do you ever use the same beat for like different songs? Like the same, you don't have to have like just the same beat.
What do you mean?
Like it would be the same drum pattern, but it's just a different like chorus or different like the melody's different.
Me personally, I can't get around using like the same. I might use the same sounds, but the same pattern, nah. Cause every melody that I do, I might feel a different drum pattern for it. Maybe the same sound, but definitely not the same pattern.
So do you do the pattern first or the melody first?
I'm a melody guy.
Yeah,
like,
melody first.
Cause I try to do melody first, but it's like I gotta hear that, like, where am I going with this? You feel me? Like I gotta know.
I feel like once you have the melody, you can, you know exactly what type of way you want to go with the drums. If you start with the drums first, you might have it like one way. You kind of have to. The melodies and the instrumentation have to pretty much follow that pocket. Yeah. When the melodies, you could do, let's say, like a jazzy type of vibe with the melodies, and you could just throw trap drums on it, throw everybody off, but it won't sound weird. You know what I mean?
Because when I hear like Playboy Cardi type beats, I hear like a melody. It's like a pristine kind of beautiful kind of melody, but then it's like drums are like
808 is crazy.
Ooh, yeah, and it's like it doesn't really match, but it's like it still goes hard. You know?
It slaps. Yeah.
Yeah.
I view as, for me, what gives me drum definition in like my beats is once I lay the melody down, my always go to right after the melody is like done or the group of melodies is done is hi-hats. The hi-hats always for me tell me like where the kick, snare, and the percussion gonna go. That's why I always try to like base it off of.
Yeah.
It's rare unless I tell myself, you know what, today, like sometimes I'll challenge myself. I'll be like, you know what, today I'm gonna do drums first, and see where that goes. Because I can't just say I'm always a melody guy. It just happens to be 99% of the chance I am a melody first. But you can't restrict yourself. Say I'm always gonna do melody first. Sometimes weird shit comes out of doing drums first, or even doing bass first for whatever reason.
Do you ever do kicks first? That's.
If anything, it's always hi-hat or snare first, never kick.
You don't do kicks first?
No, I do the melodies first, and then I go into the hi-hats, and then usually I do hi-hat rolls, and it'd be random as hell. Like I don't be caring. It'd be random, and then I go to the snare, and then I do the 808, and then I copy and paste the 808 pattern with the kick.
Oh yeah, because I tried doing kicks first once, it didn't turn out good. So I was like, nah. Because I know how hard it is to like, because you need something to go by in order.
Exactly.
To
you need something to follow.
Yeah.
And trust me, trying to do kicks first with a metronome is not it's not too sexy. You know what I'm saying?
So what do you guys use? Do you guys use the piano roll, or do you like actually play out the piano?
Well, I can't play keys for nothing. So I usually use my my laptop keyboard and just play around, or I just use the piano roll.
You don't have a MIDI keyboard?
Yeah. I'll play something like that, and if I can't get nothing off that, I'll go into the piano roll and just start clicking stuff.
You're the same way?
Nah. So I'm not a professional piano player, but as a musician, I know music theory. So I'll start off as just like playing chords, doing like first inversions of certain chords, like moving around with that stuff. Or if let's say I find the chord progression right that I like, that I played, maybe I'll throw in like some MIDI data of like some chord progression that's similar to mine, and use, because like maybe
they just change it
in the piano roll, just like add certain notes or just move shit around to like make it like more jazzy. Because I understand music theory, so when I go into the piano roll, I know, like, depending on what the chord structure is, I know what notes I can what notes I can add to make it, you know, modern, jazzy, all that stuff. So I mean, I really just start off by playing, and then maybe piano roll and adding some notes.
So you guys are like different, since you know music theory and you don't. So do you feel like it's like a requirement to know it?
Oh, hell no.
Nah.
I seen Suave when we were in school make a beat with no headphones. He just knew what notes he was playing. No headphones in class. I'm pretty sure that day I saw him no headphones, no volume, and then he played it for me later. I was like, "Yo, how you did that with no headphones, no volume, bro? Like how you make beats without listening to it? That's crazy."
Yo, I try to do that sometimes. I'm like, yo, because like sometimes I'm like in class or something and I can't like make a beat, so I'm just like, oh, let me just make it anyway. Fuck it. So I just do it and see how it comes out. You don't do that?
I gotta. I'm a producer. I'm a producer first and engineer second, but I gotta hear everything.
Yeah.
That's my money maker. So if I can't hear it, bro, I don't know, bro.
No, but like, what if like, cause you know we're around like loud music all the time. What if one day your hearing goes out? You can't make a beat.
So not to get all not to get all nerdy, right? I would have to like tap into like my Tchaikovsky type shit. So Tchaikovsky, so Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky, he's like a famous composer, I believe from Russia, if I'm correct. And he couldn't see or hear. He would write like amazing scores, all by the vibrations of the band. So I would have to like tap into some echolocation type, some nerdy stuff.
That's like Beethoven too. He was deaf.
Yeah, I would have to like use some echolocation to like figure out like that vibration is an E, that vibration is F sharp. I don't know.
Much,
but like,
I know,
if you're,
bro.
If you're using the piano roll, you get to see it though. You can see the notes that you're playing. So,
but remember,
Logic is different, right?
No. In the modern age, all the DAWs, all the VSTs we use, not all of them, when you play them out, are playing in key. Some of them are pitched up. So you might be playing C, E, G, and that, for some weird reason, is like B sharp, C minor, and like some other shit. So that's why I just gotta hear it in general. I can't do it without listening. I don't know how he does it, bro. He's different. He built different.
I feel like I can make like a drum pattern real good with it, but... Because I just memorized like the different.
You could write in a drum pattern easily.
Yeah.
That's easy, but melody, nah, B. Nah, you gotta hear it.
With FL is different because alright, like you can literally, they have chords that you can click in, so you can put a minor chord on the piano roll and whatever, you could just look at it and just click in the minor, the keys.
No, yeah, I seen
Oh shit, I know.
Have you heard of the chord trigger on Logic?
Yeah, I use that.
Yeah, you just put in the chords, like whatever chords you need, and it's like all like whatever chord you play, it's gonna be in tune.
Oh, word? That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
But the thing is, correct me if I'm wrong, chord trigger only works like you can only do major chords only and minor chords. You can't move from.
I think they have flats too.
No, but I'm saying like you can't move from like a major to a minor to a flat 7 to an augmented.
Oh, no,
all in the same.
No,
you gotta do one by one type shit.
It's for if you're like trying to do like 4 chords.
Exactly.
But I mean, it'll still come out good, like sounding good together. So what kind of beats do you like to make, like when you're searching like how to make this type of beat? Like what would you search for, or like what like artists and stuff?
If I'm like really searching up like how to make a so and so type of beat, it will usually be more of like a melodic, because I really don't know how to play keys. So it might be on like, you know, how to make a Travis Scott type beat, something like that, where I'm really just focusing more on like the key of the melodies and like how the it's structured than the drums, because the drums I could do that, that's light work. But it'll be more on like a melodic type of artist, like a Trippie Redd or like a Travis Scott.
So you're not just like a loop person, like just do.
Usually, like I would do, like if I'm playing the melodies, I'll do like I say either a 2 or 4 bar loop, and then I just copy and paste it and just stuff like that. Is easier, and it makes is a quicker workflow. So like you don't want to get caught up. Like I ain't gonna front with this dude. When we making a beat, it might take 75 minutes, right? So if you're doing that, you might lose the feeling of what you at the moment. You know what I mean? You might feel the vibe. When you do it, doing like 10, 15 minutes, you good. You got the vibe already out. Now you go on to the next beat.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it works for him, if it works, like the producing shit is, do what works for you. You know, some people, like you said, might do the kicks first. If it works for you, it works for you. It's not. There's no like manual on how to do it the right way. Is whatever works. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. What about you?
He hates when I do that, by the way. He hates when I do. He was like, yo, Leonard. It's
tired. I don't want to hear that beat no more.
Exactly.
I could tell you make beats real quick and you spend your time.
Oh, yeah.
You're like a 3-day type of person.
No. A day.
A day?
Like if we say, yo, we're gonna make a beat for so and so, like we're gonna get it done in that time stretch. Probably like within the hour, more or less. I don't think I've ever like been in a situation with Suave and it's been like 2 hours on the beat.
Yeah.
The most is an hour because he told me he told me
Simplicity
is key, but it's like, yo, if you can't get it within the first hour, like get the whole concept, the vibe of it, it's just either two things. It's not meant for that day, or it's not meant to just come out in general.
Yeah.
Simplicity is best because you gotta also realize that there's an artist trying to get on it. So if the beat is doing 7,000 backflips on the beat, the artist is gonna be like, oh, I can't rap on this, I can't sing on this. So you got to keep it very simple and open. So the artist, the rapper, the singer,
and then their flow's gonna have to change every single time.
Yeah.
Like, do you I forgot my question. So do you just I was listening to you, so I forgot what I was gonna say. What about you? The way that you make beats, you said that you spend like a day on them.
I'll spend now when I first started probably, but like now I could probably crank out like 3 or 4 good ones in a day, but that's because like now I'm focusing on like the vibe and making space for the artist. That when I first showed him like my first batch of beats and whatnot, it was always. He would always tell me, yo, Leonard, it's good. Like, the melody is dope, but, like, your drums are doing way too much. I'm like, damn, so what I do? So he was like, bro, just make it simple. And then I would make it simple and, like, create, like, you know, a 4-bar loop, an 8-bar loop, and, like, try to transition from every, like, 8 bars such and so, like, something different. And he was like, all right, now we're somewhere. But, like he said, the whole, like, trying to do 75,000 backflips is, like, it makes it kind of not kind of impossible, super impossible for the artist to write to it. So nowadays, if I do the melody, I do like 1 drum loop, and then I'll copy and paste it throughout the whole thing. And then, you know, to add variation, I might add a couple hits here and there.
Yeah.
And that's because that makes it easier for me to catch the overall vibe of the song, as opposed to trying to think, all right, I'm gonna do a drum pattern for the hook, 1 for the snare, 1 for the bridge, 1 for the ending, like trying to do all that stuff. It's cool if you're gonna do it like after the artist is recorded to it, maybe, but not while they're waiting for the beat.
That's cool if you're making a beat for you to listen to it. But if you're really trying to really get placements on it, my like a lot of the records that I've got placed are, when I look at the session, it's probably like 7-8 sounds on it, and it was simple.
So when you make a simple beat like that, do you ever feel like it's just like it just becomes formulaic, like you just make the same thing every single time?
I mean, it can get like that, but like, I don't know, to me, I feel like if I don't want to do too much, because then, you know, then it's, when you're doing too much, you're doing too much.
Yeah.
So I like to, when I hear it, sometimes I might be like, yo, something is missing, but then I think about it, I'm like, I'm trying to get somebody on it. So, you know, nowadays a lot of the rappers are doing ad-libs and stuff that are pretty much the melody on the record. So you could probably have 3 or 4 melodies, but then if you get a right artist on it, they could probably add like 6-7 more melodies just with their voices and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, like one luxury producers don't get. It's rare the artists that do give them this luxury, but it's like most of the time, if we send the beat out, if the artist fucks with us, they'll send us like either their rough bounce or the final version of their recording, right? And sometimes, if you're lucky, maybe you can go in after they recorded something and like add whatever idea you had after the fact. But
That's very rare.
It's very rare. 9 out of 10, what the beat that you sent, if the label or whoever such and such hit you with the send me the stems, you're sending the exact same shit that they got. You're not adding nothing extra because since they haven't heard it yet, they might be like, I don't fuck with that. So 9 out of 10 is just we're sending the exact same stems, like all the sounds that they heard in the beat. We're sending all that to be mixed, all that stuff.
Yep.
It's rare that we get to like add stuff, like do post production after they record to it.
Yeah, because sometimes when I make a beat, I just, like once I'm done. So I wouldn't like really go back into it unless they're asking.
Exactly.
But I was gonna ask you before I forgot my question. Like, how do you know when a beat is done?
When I go in Logic and I do the fade out. That's how I know it's done. Once the fade out's done, that's when the beat's done.
You fade out all your songs?
Myself, yeah.
I mean, like you fade out all of them, or you just like do you ever stop them abruptly, like just stop?
Nah, either I fade them out or I let, like, if the sound has reverb or delay to it, I'll let the reverb and the delay end, and that'll be the fade out of the song.
Because I heard a lot of like on the radio you can't put a fade, right? Like for radio songs.
Oh, word? I didn't even know that.
'Cause, I mean, you don't hear fades on the radio.
I mean, they barely play the full song anyway.
They don't play the full song because there is a fade, but it's a transition between one song to the other. That's the quote unquote fade that's there.
But then they do it themselves in the studio.
Yeah, in the studio. Yeah, they blend the song into the other one, and that's the quote unquote fade.
Yeah, because I heard like a lot of like, I heard what the Work song by Rihanna. I heard what it sounded like with a fade, and it they said they had it at first, but they couldn't use it, so they just took off the fade and just stopped it like abruptly because it wouldn't sound right. I
mean, it happens a lot in modern day hip hop and R&B where like there's no fades. It like the second that the song is done, that's it. It's just it's a quick and done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do fades like crazy, and then I seen an engineer like pretty much take the fade and pretty much bring it closer. So I was like, what's the point of me just fading out when the engineer is cutting it out anyways?
Yeah.
So lately I just been letting it rock.
So how long you been producing again?
I've been engineering and producing for the same time, so about to be 3 years in August.
So what, like in those 3 years, how long have you been doing it?
About to be 10.
10?
10 years.
So in that amount of years, how have you seen like different artists and like beats, like, you know, the transition within that time? You get me? Like the older style versus nowadays.
Now it's more 808s, like heavy 808s, and like fast hi-hats and all that. But back when I first started, it was still like samples, like people were sampling more. Now it's just straight heavy 808s, hi-hats, roll crazy. So it's changed. It's more computer based. You know.
Like when I started, I was like, even the beats that I was making, I was trying to really to cater more to people who were influenced by autotune, because as a musician, I play trumpet, so I'm a melody guy. So everything's melody driven, both the beat and in the lyrics and everything that everyone sings. So I was trying to cater more to that. But as I started like learning more and gathering more sounds, now it depends. Sometimes I'll do like a Triple Red type beat. I'll do a boogie type beat, and then I'll go from a boogie type beat to like a Styles P type beat. I'll find a sample. I'm like, oh, I have the drums for that. The more access that you have nowadays, the more type of beats you can create nowadays.
Yeah. No, of course. What about some artists that you've worked with?
What's yours?
I worked with Davies. Produced a bunch of records for him. I did KD for him, and then I did P2. I just did Violent with Lloyd Banks for him. I've worked with Jim Jones. I've worked with a guy named he's from the Bronx named Aldo. We did pretty much a whole project together called Legends of the Lobby. Worked with Bodega Bams. What was it? Trav from Queens. Got a record with him in Mano. I might be missing, but yeah, that's for the most part. For the most part, it's really been a lot of records with Davies.
And then me on the engineering side, I have a engineer for Disco Black. He's a up and coming artist from Harlem as well too. He's on the Def Jam. I'm working a lot more with like a lot of like up and coming artists. So there's another artist out of like Jacksonville, Florida called Young and Ace. I've engineered for him too. I'm actually working on a record for him right now. Actually,
does he like his bass distorted?
Nah, actually, he's like an NBA YoungBoy type of dude.
Oh, really?
He likes all that piano riff stuff. He that's like if the piano not bouncing, he not rapping on it. I'm like, if the piano not moving at 10,000 miles an hour and doing like like some crazy shit, he not rapping on it. That's his style. But I fuck with it. He gives me like a Kodak a Kodak Black type vibe, like Kodak Black NBA YoungBoy type vibe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then I've also produced a record for Disco Black. We actually have one out. It's called Flex. It just came out. It's a pretty dope record to And yeah, I'm just working with like a lot of up and coming artists and stuff.
So, do you feel like it's important to get a placement? How important are placements?
If you're trying to get your name out, placements is key, because once you get, especially if you have a major artist, like, you know, that's basically their stamp of approval. So everybody, and even if it's a hit record, everybody wants a hit record. So let's say you produce a hit record now for, let's say, I don't know, Chubby Red, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's a huge record. Now everybody wants that same formula, because it worked for him, so they think it's gonna work for them.
Yeah.
So placements is super important if you're really trying to, like, you know, really, you know, have a big name in the producer thing.
What about giving out free beats? Is that how do you guys feel about that? Is it a good way to get your, like, is it important to get your name out there, or should you get paid?
I think honestly, unless you 100% in two things, you have to either 100% fuck with the artist, like when you hear them rap over your stuff, you gotta be like, yo, like, I would buy into that as a fan. And there's kind of like a friendship aspect to it. It's like, if you fuck with them as a person and then you fuck with the sound, it's up to you at that point to be like, you know what, let me build with this person. Because what happens a lot of times is, all producers, when they start out, they're hungry for the check, but sometimes they miss out on opportunities, doing shit for free or off the strength to get the next check.
Yeah.
It's happening. It happens. Every popping producer that you know has probably missed out on another check just because a person didn't pay him, and then like a year later that person blew up, and like that was a check that they missed out on. Granted, if they don't care, God bless their soul. That's cool if you don't care, but it just goes to show you, it's like, you gotta gauge what's this person's like skill ability. Can I develop them? Can they be something? It's a risk you take no matter what at the end of the day. But I always say, if it doesn't pan out, you can always sell the beat to someone else.
My opinion is, you gotta pay your dues, especially if you new into this. A lot of the records that I got with major artists, like, you know, Davies, 600 Breezy, all those guys, I ain't charging, because I knew with that it was gonna come with, you know, exposure. And when exposure sometimes is better than a check, because with exposure that could lead to 17 more checks than that one check. So if you starting off with this, you know, you should know your worth as a producer. You know what I mean? If you starting off, you know, either find an artist to build with and, you know, create a sound, or if you just looking, you know, looking for artists, give them out for free. Because if as an artist, why should I pay you? Just started making beats. You know what I mean? When I can go, as an artist, I can go on YouTube and find 80 million beats. What's your beats? What makes your beat so different? Especially you just started. So you gotta pay your dues.
Yeah, because I always see a lot of producers, they fall into the trap of, like, artists. They're saying, "Oh, I'm gonna pay you when, you know, I make it," but then
they never make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you feel about that? Like, should they take that risk, or?
It's really an on you type thing.
It's a coin flip.
It's a coin flip.
You know what I mean? If in your heart you feel like this artist can really, you know, has potential, you know, but if you know the artist probably ain't gonna go nowhere, you charge him. Because that free beat, that beat that you gave for free, you could have gave that, somebody could have probably offered you $200 for it. But the dude wanted to be on, yo, I got you, bro. You know, people looking at, no, they not looking at you, bro. You know, stuff like that.
What's the most you guys sold beats for?
I mean, I'm starting now. I call myself, like, even though I have some time doing it, I still call myself a rookie. He a super vet in this game.
No, I'm not.
Oh, don't play yourself now. Don't be humble now. Huh?
I'm not.
So, the last beat you sold was what, 2?
Alright, I'm just gonna say it like this. When you get major labels involved, it's gonna the check is way bigger than just anybody, just an up and coming artist. I just put it like that.
For sure. So, do you have any advice you want to give to any producers or engineers starting out?
Want to go first?
As an upcoming producer, be accessible. You know, have your social media game up crazy, cause that's one thing that I kind of like lacked on. I wasn't like my social media is up there, but like going to events and networking, I always because I was young, so I couldn't get into clubs. You know, I just turned 21 last year, so I couldn't get into these clubs that all these artists would be at. You know, I couldn't really go to any of these places, so I pretty much had to play the crib and just send them through email. But as an upcoming producer, be accessible. Get your humble yourself, because you might think you good, but there's a person that's way better than you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just humble yourself. Always be accessible. Be open to collaborate with other people, other producers. And sometimes you gotta, you know, flip the coin on an artist. That's what I did with Dave. When I made Dave East, he wasn't what he is now. Like, he was still on the come up, and I saw the potential from back then. And I you know, I build up, and you know, look, he's this huge superstar now. So you gotta, like, you just stay humble and just be open. You know what I mean?
No,
Just be able to work. Just work with everybody, because you never know, the person down the block might. Nowadays, music is the person down the block might do a little song that'd be the first song they ever recorded in their lifetime, and it'd be triple platinum in 2 months.
I have a friend like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have like a situation going on where like one of our homies connected us with artist, and like we collabed on a beat and we sent it through to her, and I've done like I did more work with her originally, but like we worked on some shit, we sent it through to her,
She in school, right?
and now she signed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and you know, we're working with her, and we're like developing the sound and stuff like that. So you know, it's all about the, like he said, the coin flip. It's like, is it worth it? Do we fuck with the sound, all that stuff? And like my suggestion is, don't. It might sound like kind of jaded, but it's because I've just seen stuff go left like real quick. It's not about being everyone's friend, but it's about being social with everyone, where like basically. When we're in this environment, you want the artist to want you in the room, as opposed to be like, yo, just send me email, just send me email, like you want to be in the room in the creative process. There's been records where Suave has pulled up on East, and just him being in the room, him being there, like giving up his vibe to East. I can guarantee that East caught a vibe.
That's how we do violent.
There's been mad times where literally he's been shouted out on the record. It was because like, he in the room, like just vibing with what he was saying, and Suave was like, "Yo, Rico," on some like just, you know, showing appreciation, showing love and shit. Like, the producer is important at the end of the day. It's like, so as artists, value your producer, especially if they're you don't owe the producer like your life, right? But if they're taking the risk on you, both financially, musically, you know, be appreciative of the work that they're giving to you. That's it. At the end of the day, like, don't get it twisted. We want to get compensated. We want to get paid, but also we want you to appreciate, like, yo, I held you down, and like throughout all these times, giving you beats, we clicked, we made a sound. Let's keep working on that, and now the next song, and the next song, and the next shit, and the next album, and the next platinum plaque, all that stuff. As
a producer, you should know your worth, but also know your place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want to be in a studio with, you know, people that they like you might go to the bathroom and they be like, yo, why is he here? We don't want him. Don't tell him not to come anymore, because you doing all this, you jumping all over, and you know, it's all about a vibe. You play the background, you know, watch your surroundings. When it's your time, trust me, when it's your time to speak up, and when it's your time to showcase what you got, you will get it. You just gotta know.
Yeah. No, of course. What about any shoutouts you have?
Shout out to Andrew for always holding me down. That's like
shout out to Andrew.
Shout out to Andrew.
Me down. For real.
Yeah.
Shout out to Andrew for always holding me down.
Nah, yeah. Luckily, I've been able to like make relationships with a lot of like industry people and both the management here, so that they always like hold it down for me with like letting me work with you know, people that I'm trying to develop. And you know, at the end of the day, I'm trying to make money, but I'm trying to make studio money too. And they always mad flexible with me. So shout out to Andrew as always. Yeah.
And you too?
Shout out to everybody that support me.
Hell yeah.
Where can they find you guys at?
Instagram, Suave on the beat, all together. Twitter, Suave on the beat. That's pretty much it.
My Instagram is Big Len Music, and my Twitter is Big Len Music 93.
For sure. So it's been 6 feet with Big Len, Suave on the beat.